Oh, my goddess, life is a beautiful something. I am Astarius Miraculi, loving you with the passion of heaven. And today we are working with the frequency of the grand solar eclipse. It is a solar eclipse on tomorrow. It would be tomorrow evening in this Western Hemisphere, and in the East, it is on the 13th. So this is a very powerful frequency. I am Astarius Miraculi, loving you and holding sacred space for you so that we can champion this experience of this amazing energy that is up for us. A solar eclipse is a conjunction of the sun and the moon, and there's a moment where there is a blocking out of the energy, and so there's darkness, or there is a void. So the solar eclipse energy can have two perspectives. From a negative perspective, it can represent a negative expression of darkness where we get caught up in the shadows and caught up in the negativity if we're not coming from that place of centeredness, if we're not coming from that place of that divine reality of being that is within us. So it can be from negative darkness, or it can be from that perspective of the newness that is born out of the sacred void. As in the creation story, where it says, "So God created the heavens and the earth, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep." Okay? So the earth, for example, was already a reality in the consciousness of Creator. Just like the blessings that you seek are already a reality in your consciousness, except they are without form and void. And so when the solar eclipse comes, we're able to tap into that reality that exists in its intangibility before crystallization. I call this one a grand solar eclipse because there's so many amazing energies associated with it. There is a grand trine that is taking place where the solar eclipse, which is a conjunction between the sun and the moon at 20 degrees of Cancer, and immediately opposite that is Pluto, which is 20 degrees of Capricorn. So the sun and the moon solar eclipse is trining which is a positive conversation between planets. It's trining Jupiter, and it's also trining Neptune. So there's a lot of harmonious energy that is available through that particular connection. But then with Pluto being in opposition to this strategic point in the Grand Trine, which is the point of the solar eclipse, that is where the trine becomes a kite. And so the solar eclipse, sun-moon conjunction, is like the tail of the kite. And the tail of the kite is the means by which the kite flies. You know, when one flies a kite, the tail has to be in order for the kite to take flight. And so that means that the power available to us through this particular solar eclipse is enormous. Now, with Pluto in opposition to this point, the question is, what are the ways in which we are meant to die? What personality traits, what behaviors are no longer working? I know for myself personally, I remember certain behaviors that I healed, long time ago. And the energetics around those behaviors surfaced and were in my face as if they were a current reality, even though so much of that was already healed. So this is a time when issues of darkness, issues of shadow, issues of those parts of self that we don't particularly like can come up and get in our face. So what parts of your behavior and your personality, beloved, what parts of my behavior and my personality need to die away? The planet Pluto is a planet of death, regeneration, and transformation. The sun is father, the moon is mother. So that's the energy of parents. So we might have to look at some of the shadow issues that we've been holding on to relative to our parents and or relative to our parenting. What kinds of attitudes are we holding on to relative to our parents that we need to let go of? Is there any resentments involved? Always with Pluto, there's many lessons centered around resentment. The danger of resentment is what we resent, we reject. What we reject, we're not able to learn from, and then we have to learn it over. So resentment causes us to perpetually attract another one like the other one. And so it is an important time to let go of resentments. And any of the ways in which we have been resentful will be surfacing. Pluto represents that which is hidden. The eclipses also have to do with that which is hidden, but then that which comes to the surface in order to be addressed, in order to be healed. We can't heal what we won't reveal, and we can't heal what we are unwilling to feel. With this solar eclipse being in Cancer, we are dealing with the epitome of feeling vibrations. If you've been trying to escape your feelings, if you've been trying to suppress your feelings, you will not be able to. Feelings are up to be transformed. That's why I love that many years ago I awakened to the importance of my feeling nature, the importance of my vulnerability. I was in a seminar and I stood up before about 50 people and I was absolutely sobbing and sharing a part of my life. And for the very first time, I cried those tears with absolute dignity, with an absolute knowingness that it was not weakness. In fact, it was strength, because I was being true to the reality of that particular moment. The weakness would have been had I suppressed it. And shortly after that seminar, I wrote this poem, From Stinking Thinking to Revealing Feeling. The things I know by what I think are partly good, and they partly stink. Not a bad start, but partly sealed. Truth of the head is half revealed. What was the bid when I was a little kid? If I want to be smart, then learn it by heart. What a dread when I learned it by head, for in all my learning, I woke up dead. How can my truth be alive and real unless it's truth that I can feel? Down the highway of ignorance and strife, mere thinking was at the wheel of my life. Intellect was wheeling and dealing, but now I'm chauffeured by my feeling. I don't mind showing what's inside. We are all one. Why should I hide? When I do, from me I steal, for I can't heal what I won't reveal. And I can't heal what I'm unwilling to feel. So life, mother of all good things, thanks for the wisdom feeling brings. In feeling there is nothing new, except that which my soul always knew. From stinking thinking to revealing feeling, let's all open up and have a healing. So we have to feel, beloved. Feelings are rooted within being. When you feel something, you're joined at the hip. You can think about something and be totally objectively separate from what you're thinking about. But you're going to feel from oneness and from connection. So feeling is rooted within oneness, and it is rooted within being. And the way in which we experience Creator, God, Goddess Absolute, is through our feeling nature. And with this solar eclipse, new moon, we're going to feel up one end and down the other. So look for the ways in which you can make your feelings allies. Let your affirmation be, I am so in love with me, so in love with my feelings, as my feelings are so in love with me. And so you open up to allow yourself to be empowered by your feeling nature. Emotions are personified. Relationships are intensified. The conjunction of the sun and the moon, sun is male, moon is female. So it represents a joining of the energies of the masculine and the feminine. But not from the premise of one over here and one over there, but from the premise of the two being entwined as one vibration together. So what is your relationship to the inner male and the inner female? This is up. Jupiter is in Scorpio, and it's making a trine to this solar eclipse new moon, and Jupiter is expansion. And so we have the opportunity to expand in our connection with the inner male and female. to expand in our connection to our emotionality, to expand in our connection to our family. And our relationship with our family may mean that it's important for us to be up close and personal with them in close, intimate relationship interaction. Or it might mean that we need to be loving them from over here. With some family members, it's important that we say, do your life, grow and get clear. I'm loving you from over here. Creator does not require that we be up close and personal with anybody. The requirement is that our heart is always open and big and wide and full of love, even if we have to arc that love over to our beloveds from a distance. You can't love everybody up close and personal because some are counterproductive to who you are. If the mirroring that they offer is something that is debilitating to your nature, then you must put some distance between you, even if they are blood relative. So Jupiter is bringing about an expansion or the opportunity for an expansion of consciousness, an expansion of understanding as to how we are to relate to family, moon, how we are to relate to the mother principle, the feminine principle, moon, how we are to relate to the father principle, sun, how we are to relate to the way to show up in the world. The sun is how we show up in the world. Wherever you have your sun sign is the expression of your godhood. So before I go further into this particular download, I want to offer some frequency here with the didgeridoo to offer some energies of transformation. I'm going to bring about a little bit of a didgeridoo orchestra. As I told you in my other video, I recently released a new album, an album which is entitled Fly My Winged Love. And so I'm going to play along with a track here. This track is track 5. I call it Queen V. And this is basically for the purpose of tapping into the royalty within our being and representing or tapping into the superhero. See, that's what this particular eclipse is all about. It's a superhero frequency. You know, to have the opportunity to discover the superhero that exists within yourself. And what we notice about the superhero is the superhero does not necessarily win every battle. Sometimes the superhero gets beaten up, and yet the superhero always wins the sacred war. So you are the superhero. And this time, this cycle is a little bit like being in the senior year of school. A very honorable place to be. Everybody looks up to the seniors in school, and yet they are the ones who have to work the absolute hardest. So we're all on the cutting edge of stepping into a whole new frequency. So this didgeridoo offering that I'm going to give now is to help facilitate you in this transformational process and to tap into the superhero within your being that always wins the sacred war, even though you may here and there lose a battle. Okay, here we go. I love you so much. I want you to take the deepest, fullest breaths you can take as this energy is coming through. Let me get my didgeridoo. Create a little didgeridoo orchestra for you. Life is beautiful. As I said, beloved, you want to be aware of that reality of your being that is the superhero. And each of us are a superhero because each of us have that resonance of Creator within us, that resonance of God and Goddesshood. And so that's what we're wanting to awaken, is to awaken your connection to your divinity. Awaken my connection to my divinity. You know, there is a divine something that exists within each and every one of us. Just as in the ocean, the wave is qualitatively all that the ocean is. And so it is that you, beloved, are qualitatively all that God is, the full quality of Creator. In order to engage with the full quantity of Creator, we all must be in acknowledgement of our oneness with the all that is. So just to add a little more frequency to the activation of the superhero that you are, I offer these sacred tones to further your expansion in the God-Goddess absoluteness of your being. Oh my goddess, that felt good. It's a wonderful energy, a good vibration. You know, sound is the primordial first cause, and so you want to remember during these the times of the eclipse, and incidentally, the frequency of this solar eclipse can extend for 6 months or so, maybe even a little bit further, because of all of the tremendous powerful energies that are associated with it, with Pluto in opposition, Jupiter trining, and Neptune trining. Now with Neptune trining the solar eclipse point, it is a time for an expansion of the mysticism of your life, as well as an expansion of understanding the mysticism of your life. Like you might be an empath, many of us are, where we have a tendency to feel the vibrations of other people, to feel their joys and their pains and sorrows as if they are our own. So if you are an empathic one, and even if you aren't, it may be a time when your empathic nature begins to expand. So if you're around someone whose vibrations are down and negative and you are feeling fine, and the next thing you know, your energies are being pulled down into that, you want to do a disclaimer. You know, this is not my energy. I don't have to own it. If it ain't divine, it ain't mine. But there is an acceleration of empathic energy, an acceleration of the intuition, you know, our inner perceiving. You know, the use of our intuition can be stronger than ever. The activity on the dream plane can be stronger than ever. This is a time when we can go deeper and deeper into lucid dreaming. And certainly there may be times where we'll have dreams that may be a little bit frightening in some way, that correspond to some element of our life that needs to experience healing. You know, this is a time when the reality or the realm of dreams and the realm of waking reality tend to merge a great deal, because Neptune is an energy that is being fed into this solar eclipse point. Now, some of the positive energies that we have available through Neptune is compassion. You know, we can tremendously grow our compassion. We can tremendously grow our universal self-love. You know, universal self-love is where we come into the understanding that every being in the whole of the universe is our own self by extension. And in order to truly be self-loving, then we have to love the all that is. Let us awaken to the superhero that exists within us. Let the affirmation be, I am so in love with me, so in love with the superhero that I am, as the superhero that I am is so in love with me. This is also a time when we will be going very much inward. So a lot of the things that you may want to be doing logistically in the outward realm of life, you may find that things are slowing down. It's a time for diving deep into the inner sanctum of our being. And so if things are not as accelerated as you might want them to be in outwardness, trust the process, because there is an inner activity that is taking place that will fortify our consciousness and make us even that much more capable to step forward into the outwardness, into the doing, into the achieving, and into the creating. You know, this is a time for us to come into the realization that we are of infinite value. Infinite value. You know, Jupiter and Scorpio having to do with infinite values. That's what the light expression of Scorpio is, infinite values, as the opposite of Scorpio, which is Taurus, you know, has to do with valuables. Valuables are concrete, the things that become crystallized and become manifest. Whereas the value is the intangible resonance of intention that brings about the creation of the outer valuables. Values create valuables. So this is a very powerful time for us to deepen our relationship with values, our relationship with the intangible blessings of life, and being in the awareness that we are pregnant with every blessing that will ever come to be, and that they are embryos within our soul, even though our human eyes have yet to see. Therefore, let us see with the eye of mind and heart into infinite realms of the great unseen, choosing wonderful feelings without concrete reasons, and all the riches of the kingdom are then ours to redeem. Reality always begins as an intangible something. And one of the biggest human traps is that we sometimes only have appreciation for the things that are concrete, that have come into manifestation. Manifestation is the second stage of reality, even the lesser measure of reality, because that which is manifest is of time wherein everything has an expiration date. That which is unmanifest is of eternity, being that which unfolds down the corridors of forever. The thing that is brought into manifestation will come to an end, but the idea that brought about that manifestation is eternal. We are the resonance of eternal, inner, intentional potentiality. Anything that could ever come about is already a potential reality within the inner sanctum of our being, because we each are biological living libraries containing the knowledge of all that is, was, or ever will be, of all of the circumstances that are, were, or ever will be. We know it all, even though in our human forgetfulness, we are not in alignment with the fact that we know it all. But there is a greater expanse of our beingness, God, Goddess, Absolute, angels, and ascended masters, that are in the remembrance of that which we have forgotten. Even when we individually walk in forgetfulness, we have a greater expanse of selfhood that universally walks in eternal remembrance. So let us remember that not only are we the wave of life, but we are also the ocean of life. And as we acknowledge that, then we're with the tide of the ocean, and even though we're one individual wave, as we roll upon the shores of our life experiences, the entire power of the ocean is then in back of us. During this solar eclipse experience, it is a time when we come in contact with many of the judgments that are projected at us from others, and also some of the judgments that we project to our own self. So it is a time to heal judgments. With Neptune in harmonious relationship with the solar eclipse point, compassion is very much available to us. We can tap into greater measures of compassion. It's also a time when we want to trade in our tendencies of sacrifice for compassion. Sacrifices win, lose. When we sacrifice, those that we sacrifice for win and we lose. When we are compassionate, it's always win-win, because our compassion operates with a divine wisdom that will not allow us to hurt ourselves in the process of our giving. Remember, that which has been hidden is coming to the surface. Even that which we have successfully hidden from ourselves will now be in our face in order to be transformed, in order to be healed. There's another thing about this particular solar eclipse is that there's another grand trine that is in Earth. We have Venus in Virgo, Saturn in Capricorn, as well as, let's see, what's the other one? And Uranus in Taurus. So we have those at work. With the Venus in Virgo trining Saturn in Capricorn, this is a time for us to really examine our commitments. It's a time to grow our commitments, to become more dedicated to being sincere in our commitments, as well as a time that we can have a greater sense of groundedness, where we can feel the earth more solidly under our feet. With Saturn trining Uranus, it's a time to free up the stagnation that we may have been involved with and to start taking leaps of faith. The leap of faith might have to do, like Uranus, for example, is a leap of faith, and Saturn, is that which is the status quo. Sometimes Saturn is an energy where we associate safety with familiarity. Saturn is also career. So this is a time where some of us may be taking a leap of faith relative to the career, where we leap into something that would make our hearts sing more, that would bring us a greater measure of joy, even though it might mean we let go of something that we've been involved with for a very long time. And the Venus trining Uranus is about freeing up judgments. Venus in Virgo sometimes has judgments relative to the relationship area. One of the shadows of Virgo is sometimes if you can find one flaw within a relationship, that becomes an excuse to say, no, I don't want anything more to do with that. Uranus is something that helps to bring about freedom, so we can free up some of those judgments in order to deepen and expand our relationships. We have the opportunity to love more. And the planet Venus in the Earth grand trine, we might say, is the CEO of that grand trine. And so in order to access all of those earth energies, we do it by way of our connection to Venus, which is relationships, and also to those areas wherein we find joy and we find pleasure, and also harmony. So it's a time for harmonizing, revealing one another to each other. And back to the grand trine that is in water, which is connected to the solar eclipse. The solar eclipse point is the CEO, the chief executive officer of that particular configuration. So that's a big download, beloved, and I invite you to love on yourself and to not be afraid of these energies. We will be here and there challenged, as I said, as a superhero. Every now and then the superhero gets beaten up, but the superhero never loses the sacred war. May lose a battle here or there, but always wins the sacred war. And so it is with you as well as with me. In the end, we always will win because we are qualitative extensions of God, Goddess, Absolute. And so let us own this beauty. In fact, I think I'd like to close with a prayer on your behalf, on my behalf, on behalf of all of life. Divine Creator, we come before your sacred altar of being and ask you to reveal within us that resonance of the superhero that we are, that we believe in the magnificence of who we are, that we believe in that something within us that is absolute, our champion, that something within us that is our own champion and that has our own back. Divine Creator, we send forth positive and loving energy toward this solar eclipse, new moon, which is a grand solar eclipse. And we recognize by virtue of your grace, Divine Creator, that there is nothing out there that is bigger than us, that we have the capacity to be empowered by everything. And so we open our hearts to say that everything will be servant unto our divine expansion, and nothing is meant to be master over us in any negative way whatsoever. We thank you, Divine Creator, for giving us the presence of mind and heart to be self-forgiving, to forgive ourselves for any and all mistakes and violations that we may have engaged in our past. Being in the recognition that the painful past has passed away and used to be's don't make no honey. And so we choose to bless the darkness, make it right, reverse the tide, and free the light. Thank you, Divine Creator, for giving us the presence of mind and heart to use the negative experiences of our past as fertilizer. It is wise not to despise it. Use the dung to fertilize it, for life's greatest connoisseur gets the best crops from the best manure. And so we follow the example of the soil that never complained when that waste was dumped upon it, but rather went into the wisdom of alchemy and yielded a richer crop, not in spite of that waste, but because of that waste. And so let it be, Divine Creator, that we yield a richer crop of our own life experiences, not so much in spite of the painful waste and difficulties of our lives, but because of them. Let us walk in the awareness that we are meant to be empowered by everything. My being knows no limit. I am God, Goddess within. Horizon of this moment with eternity I blend. Every space is here, every time is now, every one is me. Full awakening of eternal remembrance, blessing now I be. Immortal hands, immortal body, immortal energy, immortal healing. I as God and Goddess do all that they will ever do. Aho Ashe Amen Namaste. Hotep in Lakesh Alakin Shalom. Sat Nam Hariom. So thank you, beloved, for walking with me in this download and receiving this and carrying it forward and sharing it with others. Thank you for remembering to love on yourself. Thank you for remembering to be in appreciation of who you are and to know that nobody can do the universe exactly like you. Thank you for remembering that you are your own version of the universe, your own version of God, Goddess, Absolute. Thank you for always using the energy that you have in a good way. Thank you for always remembering that it is the entire universe wielding the forces through the individuality of your soul. Thank you for knowing that there is nothing that you can't achieve in. And thank you for remembering that the whole universe has your back as you move forward in the things that you want to create, manifest, and achieve. So the music that I've used, the music you're hearing in the background is from my album, which is called Sonic Ascension, a tribute to Sedona. And then the didgeridoo piece where I played along, that is from the album Fly, My Winged Love. I invite you to go to my website. I have 20 CDs to choose from there, which are available through CDs or digital downloads. And I thank you so much for your support. You know, this is how I make my living. You know, I don't punch a clock in any other way. This is what I do, and in service to the expansion of life, the expansion of the universe. And I'm so grateful for those of you who have the presence of mind and heart to give back and purchase some albums. I also have a couple of books that are available. You know, thank you for purchasing those. And I'm available for psychic astrology readings as well as sound healing transmissions with didgeridoo and vocal harmonics. My website is astarius.com, astarius.com, astarius.com. Private line available through the regular phone or WhatsApp, +1 928 254 9535. +1 928 254 9535. I do my sessions in person, you know, as well as by Skype. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, we can do some work. If you happen to be in my area, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. You know, you may be passing through on your way to Sedona. You know, so come and let me serve and empower you in an even deeper way. And lastly, I have a donation button on my website. And if you feel like you just want to offer, give an offering, a donation, a tithe, then I am so grateful for that as well. I am Astarius Miraculi. Aho, Ashe, Amen, Namaste, Hotep, In Lakesh, Alakin, Shalom, Satnam, Hariom, Rastafari. Our sacred juices are cooked and infinitely expanding. Justafari, Rastafari, Blistafari. We will always have many miles on our smile, much wiggle in our giggle, tingling in our boots, laughter ever after, putt in our strut, wings on our butt, always rising up and knowing up at the top There's room for all. It's just the bottom that's crowded, y'all. Astarius Miraculi, in and out. I love you so much.